Happy Nintendo Direct announcement day to all of you out there. It is a very exciting time to be a Nintendo Switch fan right now. You may remember in yesterday's video, we broke down a lot of unannounced Nintendo Switch leaks that were appearing online for certain games that could indicate that we were right around the corner from an official announcement for a Nintendo Direct. And of course, Nintendo gave us that official confirmation earlier this morning, and the Direct is taking place tomorrow. And in today's video, I want to break down some games that we can for sure expect to be featured at this event, and then have a larger discussion on why this may be the last chance for certain long rumored projects to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. And as I mentioned, guys, we got to talk about all things Nintendo Direct as we are just around the corner from it tomorrow. This will be taking place at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Central time where I'm at, or 5 p.m. Eastern time. So set your reminders accordingly. Of course, on Nintendo's official channel, they will have the live stream already up and set, so you can go ahead and click that set reminder button so you're ready to go for all of the announcements, because clearly 2022 is already proving to be an extremely stacked year for Nintendo Switch. And I do want to emphasize one portion of what Nintendo announced as part of this tweet that they sent out, which they did confirm or clarify that this will primarily be focused on games in the first half of 2022, meaning don't expect all of the holiday lineup to really be heavily featured and heavily focused on at that event. So keep that in mind when we're talking about the various different titles and projects that we may see pop up here. Now, to quickly mention a few games that I think we can more or less confirm will be featured at this event as they are coming up on their releases are the following games: Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This absolutely is going to get some more information and kind of a deep dive overview trailer, more than likely, just because we know that that game is launching in March 25th. And of course, we are fastly approaching that date, and I think Nintendo will want to feature it at this event tomorrow. From there, we have Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which is clearly in an April title according to various leaked eShop listings, and I'm sure we'll get the exact release date confirmation and a quick overview of some more detailed mechanics of that game and just a longer look at it. From there, I think Splatoon 3 is the next confirmed game that will be at this event, because we know that that should be on track for a early summer or even a late spring release. Most likely, I think May is the month that's going around a lot online, and whether or not that happens remains to be seen, but this is the event that they feature this at, since it is a early 2022 game, or at least first half of 2022 game, as they would not wait until their next summer or E3 Direct, because the game will already probably be out by then. Next, I quickly want to discuss some third-party titles that we may or may not see show up at the event, but some of them I think are more likely than others, and one of them I would be ultimately overly hyped for if we do get the announcement. But I think a safe bet would be Square Enix to be at this event in some way, shape, or form. There's been a lot of talk about potentially those Final Fantasy pixel perfect remasters that we saw release on Steam and mobile last year. I think that those make a lot of sense to come to the Nintendo Switch platform, and I think that announcing them here would make a lot of sense. We then have the long-awaited Hollow Knight Silksong update, which it's like, gosh, what's going on with that game? It's been so long. I definitely hope it's featured here, but I could see that being saved for something like a summer E3 presentation if we don't see it here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This could be something that would be at an indie world instead, but I think it has enough hype behind it that we could absolutely see it featured with a release date of some sort for the Switch at this Direct event. Then one game that I absolutely want to see brought over as a hardcore Dark Souls fan is Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, as we have had Dark Souls 1 remastered on the Switch for quite some time now, and when we saw the leaks about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot coming over to the Switch before it was officially announced, there was a lot of people in the know claiming that Dark Souls 2 was in the works as well, and I hope that this is the event that we finally see an official announcement, as I think Dark Souls needs to have a bigger presence on the Nintendo Switch platform, as it is just an incredible series, and I definitely think a lot of the hardcore Legend of Zelda fans out there would enjoy it, such as myself. It's literally one of my all-time favorite series now, and I never thought I would say that about something that's a non-Nintendo focused franchise for the most part, and that is up there on my list of all-time favorite gaming series ever. So I certainly hope we see that brought over. Then the big one for third party, it's really kind of first party Nintendo, but I do think we have a shot of seeing this revealed, is Goldeneye on the N64. Whether or not it comes over as part of Nintendo Switch Online and it is just the N64 ROM, or if this is a larger remaster project that we will see launch on both the Xbox and Nintendo at the same time, like that's all up for debate and speculation. We don't really know what's going on, but there is so much smoke that there's got to be fire around this game. Germany lifted the ban a year early when it would have been re-reviewed anyway. Somebody at Nintendo or Microsoft, somebody had to pay to get this done, to actually have the game re-reviewed and lifted off of Germany's ban list. Why would you do that? Because you're going to launch the game in those regions and you can't have it banned in Germany because that's where the European eShop is based out of. So clearly that's one thing. Then you had Xbox Rare developers actually having leaked achievements online from a new version of Goldeneye because it had different gamer score points than the old version that was on there. And I think that that's an indication that they're testing the game and playing through early builds of it. So when do we see it announced? Probably early into the year in 2022. Nate the Hate and MVG also did a podcast earlier today, which I highly recommend and is a good listen. And Nate is claiming that while he doesn't know if it'll be featured at this direct, that it is a 2022 project. So I personally think this would be the perfect time to unveil this fan classic, fan favorite project, and hopefully we do get the confirmation of Goldeneye coming to NSO, or maybe it is a actual standalone re-release. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below if you think this game is likely like I do, and how you think we would actually see it marketed and released. Is it just part of NSO and then Xbox gets their own version on Game Pass, or is it something that's a larger standalone release? So I do want to hear from you guys on Goldeneye in the comments down below. Now from there, you have numerous sources claiming that Fire Emblem will get a new installment at this Nintendo Direct presentation, so hopefully Fire Emblem fans are happy and surprised with a new iteration in the franchise. And then from there, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or something new in the Xenoblade universe could very well be featured at the Direct, as we did have those previous leaks from the voice actress stating that she had already done her work. Then we had a gaming journalist go on record state that it actually was a plan for 2021 release and slid into 2022, so maybe early 2022 makes sense to announce that game. Now from there, you have the infamous, heavily rumored from a lot of different leakers that may or may not have real good track records, like some of them are better than others, but there's a lot of talk online about the next installment in the Mario Kart franchise, whether it be Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart Crossroads, or whether it's Nintendo Kart and it's just the entire Nintendo roster. All of that remains to be seen. I have my expectations set very low for this announcement. I think Nintendo still has some life in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when it comes to sales, which is like crazy to say in 2022, but they really do, because it's not calming down in its sales numbers. And so I think we're a little bit further off. I think the new Mario Kart could easily be featured at something like a summer direct or even a September direct, and either be the holiday title for this year for Nintendo Switch, or be a surprise, early 2023 title. But I don't have my expectations very high at this point in time that we will get the Mario Kart announcement tomorrow. Bayonetta 3 is the next one that could go one way or another. There's no telling if this will be featured at the event, but I personally feel like it's very soon to feature this game again. As you know, Bayonetta was in the dark, similar to Metroid Prime 4, as it was announced way back in the day, and we had to wait so long to ever get a glimpse at gameplay, and that just happened in September. And if I'm a betting man, we don't see this game again until E3. Maybe I'm wrong and it shows up tomorrow, but I think this game is going to be featured later in the year as opposed to the first direct of 2022. Now, one game series that I really hope we see featured here, but I don't know that it will happen, is of course Metroid Prime. Now, whether or not we get a Metroid Prime 4 development update, that's all up for debate and speculation. I think our best case scenario with Prime 4 is just another acknowledgement that development is proceeding smoothly, and then they transition into something like the Prime 1 remake announcement, or maybe we've been swerved this whole time and it's actually Prime Trilogy HD. But I could see Nintendo doing the Prime games over again, starting with Prime 1 and giving us each game in the trilogy 6 to 9 months apart while we are waiting for this ultimate release of Metroid Prime 4, which may be a late 2023 or 2024 game at this point, as Retro Studios is still hiring positions for that game. So I'm hopeful we get some kind of mention of Metroid tomorrow. My hype levels aren't ultimately up there, as I do think that this could easily be saved for something like the summer E3 Direct, but hopefully we do get some mention of Metroid at tomorrow's event. Now, the last couple of games here are the big ones for me. As you know, I'm a hardcore Legend of Zelda fan if you've been around on the channel here for a while, and I think depending on what happens at this event tomorrow with Breath of the Wild 2 could indicate whether or not it is our last chance to actually have a shot or some hopes of Zelda's 35th anniversary games coming over, like the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. And obviously these games have been hinted at for quite some time now, as Jeff Grubb, Andy Robinson, and multiple industry insiders have claimed that Nintendo essentially has them done and could potentially be planning to release them in 2022 as a buffer if they need more time to work on Breath of the Wild 2. And that really is what remains to be seen here, because most recently in Nintendo's financial briefing that they just wrapped up, according to them, Breath of the Wild 2 is still on a 2022 time schedule, and that's what they are telling their investors. That said, that is by no means a confirmation that it will come out this year, and they could adjust that date and push it into 2023. Now, there is a possible scenario that us Zelda fans get spoiled this year and we get Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess HD, because I'm still curious if they'll release them as a combo pack as part of the 35th anniversary, as technically you can say that the 35th anniversary, if you look at it from a annual year cycle, still is going on in this month of February. I think that's a stretch. I think it's more likely they'll give us one or the other than both, and they'll kind of trickle them out individually, as even though they were on the Wii U, obviously they didn't sell well on the Wii U. Not many Nintendo fans even owned a Wii U, and I think Nintendo knows they can release these games at standalone $60 each. So then you have to ask the question, do we get an early 2022 Zelda 3D game and then again at the end of the year still get Breath of the Wild 2? That is less likely in my opinion. I think it could happen, and I would be beyond elated to be wrong about that. I just think it's more likely that Nintendo uses the 35th games or Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD as a stopgap if they need to push Breath of the Wild 2 into 2023, which at this point in time is not necessarily looking like that's the case. But from there you have to wonder is, will we see Breath of the Wild 2 show up at this event at all? I think it gets acknowledged, and maybe we get Aonuma stating that development is going smooth, but I personally this whole time have been saying that I think E3 is the place that we see the gameplay blowout, some treehouse sections. Maybe it's not E3 if E3 ends up getting canceled or something, like we don't know that it's taking place at all. Nintendo will still do a summer direct in my opinion, and I think that's when we see the heavy focus on Breath of the Wild 2. I hope we do see it tomorrow, but we may not, so I'm going in with lower expectations for Breath of the Wild 2, and I have this last glimmer of hope and the last chance that I will give some kind of hype and expectation to maybe seeing either Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess HD featured at the event. But at this point in the video, guys, I want to hear from you on all your personal thoughts and expectations for tomorrow's event. Which games do you think we will for sure see there? Which ones are kind of on your hype list that you hope we see, but you know we may not see them? And do you think this will be a large, like super hype Nintendo Direct, or do you think we're going to maybe walk away a little bit disappointed overall with new big reveals? So I want to hear from you guys regardless of where you fall in this issue, as I'm just super hyped to be a Nintendo fan right now. So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all things Nintendo Direct in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Make sure you check out yesterday's video if you haven't already, where we cover a couple of the leaks that indicated that this was likely the week for the Nintendo Direct to take place. And make sure you join Sunbro Nation before you leave if you haven't already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on that bell notification icon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.